without putting a hand for it, because maybe it's me having the mic on in front. Huh? A little bit. You take your time. Come on up. Come on up. I'm going to go get that big shot. I hear it. Hey. Come on up. We're going to all eventually get down in here and talk to them. Hey, Steve and David. I don't think I'm going to do with anybody down there. So I'm not going to use, do I need to use a microphone because it's a live stream? Okay. All right, then I'll just do that. So it'll be loud up here because I have to use a microphone because they're live streaming. These are all things we all get used to of wanting to do. Okay, let's see here. We're going to be up here. Why don't you come up this side, Diana, if you don't mind. What? Oh, I will. Okay, well, we will start this. Hello to you up here, and since there's nobody down there, but hello to those that are live streaming, so we'll try to behave ourselves because this will be on forever, ever and ever. Let me say that you can ask questions anytime, okay? This is very informal. What it is not an organ recital. I am not here to play you pieces of music and so on. I'm here to show you how this contraption that we call a pipe organ works. How many of you have been here before for this? Okay, good. And then the next question that I always ask is, how many of you are engineers? Good, no engineers. No questions about air pressure, water pressure, or anything that I have no idea about. Just to let you know. Okay, this is a pipe organ. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Every sound, with the exception of a few little doodads, is made by a pipe. A pipe makes one sound. Over here I have a couple sample pipes. I'll just take a wooden one. And this wooden pipe makes only this note. That's all. So there are 7,000 pipes in this organ, 7,000 of them. And most of them you don't see. And you can see lots of them here, but most of them are behind walls in 2.5 stories, almost 3 stories. And if you look clear at the top, back there and up here, you will see shades that open and close. Can you find those? Clear way up there, way at the top. Okay? And what the pipes are all behind what you see, most of the pipes. And those shades let pipes be loud or soft. Up there. Got the pedal open. So it just closes a door to a room. And how do you do that? Well, there's a little gizmo here you'll be able to see at some point. Come on, you're welcome to come in. I won't talk about you today. Well, I might. There's a pedal that looks like a gas pedal in your automobile that I use. In fact, I have 1, 2, 3, 5 of those down there. and you'll be able to see those when we come down. The first organ that was put in this building was in 1926, and it was an E.M. Skinner that is very, very similar to the one that is at the Masonic Temple across the river. What I understand about that organ was that pipes were not exposed, sticking out like this, cantilevered out. They were all behind, and there was a facade of fake gold pipes that went there. There's some postcards, old postcards, Christmas postcards, that has those pipes that way, and it looks that way. In 1962, they put this organ in, but the one at the Masonic Temple has been renovated pipe-wise, all the chests and mechanisms, but the console has not been renovated. It is a spectacular instrument. They will never touch that historic instrument. And even though this was in 26 an historic instrument, my understanding was that there was a fire and there was some water damage. We never know how much all this is folklore or whatever, whether they just didn't like the organ and that was a good excuse to get rid of it and get another one, but I trust people, I'm not sure. Okay, so these pipes are stuck in the open. You cannot change the volume of those pipes at all. What you play is what you get, because they're not behind those shutters that open and close. The only way to change them would be to add more stops. Okay? Now, this section, I think probably those of you that have been around here for a while know that this had to all be redone because it was leaning about an inch this way toward all of you. And it could have easily come down. And the renovation of the organ, this took a huge chunk, about $300,000 to get that fixed. And what happened in 1962 when they put this pipe organ in, the Cassavant organ of Quebec, they didn't take into account that through this door there's a hallway and a set of stairs. And the parts were resting over top of that opening. They thought it was solid, and it dipped like this over the years. If it were a solid floor, then it would have been fine, but it just dipped. So that's very, very basic non-engineering language, but we had to have 2 structural engineers in here, and they had scaffolding. If you all remember, we had scaffolding up here forever. I had to creep in to see if anything was working, and they then pulled that up and secured it. All these pipes had to go back to the factory because the feet of the pipes were all bent and squished and all kinds of things. So that's part of what is happening. And the work on the organ is continuous. Underneath all these pipes, you see, there is wind, and there's a great big wind machine blower back here. And in the balcony, when the balcony's working and up and at them, there's a blower in the stairwell up there. And the blower provides air. And in a very basic sense, there is air underneath all of these pipes right now. I press a note, and air enters the pipe. It's a lot more complicated than that. But in those mechanisms that allows the pipe to speak, there's a ton of leather, a ton of all kinds of things that have deteriorated over the 60-year life of this pipe organ. It's not necessarily an old pipe organ, it's that things go bad. And they have never found, since the early days when pipe organs existed, they have never found anything that you can substitute for good old leather. Can you believe that? And when you... I guess they are, but nobody has. And no, they had a silicone type of cloth that they used. In fact, one of our people a while back, not the ones who are working on the organ now, put some of it in up there. It went bad in a couple of weeks. It's just amazing. Leather. And it's got to be, and I think basically what they want is nice, flexible sheep leather. So those poor sheep in Scotland can provide something for this organ. So anyways, that's just to give you a background. And so in 1959, because of the organ from 26 that was causing all kinds of problems, ciphering during the service meeting, a note would stay on, and all kinds of other things. They decided to go and just purchase a new organ. So what did they do? They built the back organ first. They didn't have an organ back in the balcony. They put a 2-keyboard console back there and pipes that you have seen before. Those pipes are now all in Alliance, Ohio, because they needed to be renovated. The console back there is basically inoperable. We made it through being back there for a Choral Vespers last November, and for Christmas Eve, and for April, for a thing we did on Sunday morning. But the console's shot. If you are an electrician or have any knowledge of it, the wires are wrapped in cotton. It's old cotton wrapping. In fact, it started to smoke once, which kind of made people tense, such as me. So what am I saying? All that back there has to be renovated, is it for renovation also, and it is most likely that we're going to have to purchase a brand new console. Because what we understand, the difference between fixing this console that you sit at is about $1,400, $1,500. It's silly to put money into it when you get a new one. We don't know. We haven't gotten the details of that yet. But that's why the pipes are not back there. I don't see them. All righty. Questions anytime. We have 5 keyboards here. I have 5 keyboards at my disposal. Where we have 4 for the hands. Where's the other one? For my feet. There are 32 notes down on the floor for my feet. I'll play that one for you in a bit. I have a special tune for that. But the pedals is where, most of the time, is where you hear the bass of the organ, but not always. Here's some high pitch stops. Okay, and there are 4 keyboards for the hands. There's one organ in Atlantic City that's on the boardwalk, I think it is, that has, it's a Mittmer-Loch organ. They aren't in existence, haven't been around for a long time. 7 keyboards. 7 keyboards. It's insane, absolutely insane. And because you can't put the 7th one up here and expect to be able to play it. Hello, are you up there somewhere? It goes up this way. And the top keyboard is up and down. It's totally insane. 5 keyboards in Mormon Tabernacle organ. Yeah, that's what they had originally when they put that in. And I don't understand why anybody has to have 5 keyboards. I can't. John Shearer, who is the organist at Fourth Presbyterian Church in Chicago, he grew up in Xenia, and he'll come down and play a noonday organ recital for us every once in a while. And so he has 5 keyboards. So one of our great administrative assistants in there had him make me a 5th keyboard. And I just stuck it up here as paper. But she made me a 6th one that I wanted to put on the bottom, telling him we had 6 keyboards here now. But it wouldn't hold. Anyways, I don't know why anybody wants to have 5 keyboards. Yes. I have no idea. I don't know. That's a theater organ. It's a totally different kind of instrument, and the wind pressure is high and all kinds of things. They have a beautiful theater organ down at the Victoria Theater. And as far as I know, it's still operating. I had an interesting experience down there. You came not to hear about my experiences, but about the organ. The medical school of Wright State could not graduate at the Schuster Center. Okay? There was a wicked was going on there. So they had to be at the Victoria Theater. And they asked if I would play the organ for it. Little did I know that I should have said no. I went down there to practice, and here's this organ that's on a dolly that comes out of the floor and goes down to the basement, and I'm sitting there playing, and I had to try to make it like it was an all skate, a skating rink organ. So I took all the trims off, all the tremolos off, and tried to play Handel's water music. and then at this big signal, the curtains were closed, I was out front on this big platform. I was to play. I was waiting for this professor of psychiatry who was standing over there, who was going to give me a signal when to play this gargantuan, great big fanfare. And at that point, they open the curtains of the stage, and here are all the medical students. Everybody applauds, and they lower me into the bowels of the church of Victoria Theater. Never do that again. It was very interesting. So you didn't come to hear all that stuff. There are 122, actually it's 23 now. Somebody donated a set of pipes. Sets of pipes, each with their own particular sound, each pipe making only one sound. For example, you may have a set of pipes do this, you may have a set of pipes do this, you may have a set of pipes do this, set of pipes do this, that's not it. Or this, or this. There are 122 sets of pipes that have 61 or 72 notes in each set of pipes, except for the pedal ones that have 32. They range in size from one as big as your pinky, and I walked back in there yesterday to try to find those little pipes, and I don't know where they've disappeared to. They're back in there somewhere. I had an old set of pipes I used for organ demonstrations with schools when they come here. That size to 32 feet long. And there is a big 32 in there. It wasn't in here last summer when we did this demonstration, but it's in there now. It came back from the factory. It's on its side. It's on its side and curls around. What do they call it? Mitered. It's mitered to come around. Does not change the sound of the pipe, whether it's standing up on its side, and mitered, or anything. Keeps the sound the same. So, kind of crazy. Pipes are made out of wood. I just played one of those, showed you, demonstrated one, or metal, zinc, tin, copper, or a mixture of each. And the metal makes a difference in what the pipe is to sound like, okay? Okay. Let's look at the different tone colors of the organ. We're going to start with what we call flues, F-L-U-E-S. No, let's start with reeds. Reeds are akin to a tin horn, okay? Brass or woodwinds of the orchestra is what they would try to duplicate. And I have one here. This is a reed. You call them reeds in the organ, even though they're brass and not woodwind in the band or the orchestra. This is a trumpet pipe. Marianne, put that in your mouth. So he always sit in the front. So this is a trumpet pipe. Don't worry, it is not part of the existing organ. Okay, so what happens? This sound is made by taking off the boot. That was a boot. Right here is a reed. They call it a reed. It's metal, okay? And it vibrates, and that's what causes the sound of that pipe. And you tune it by moving this little wire here up and down, which in reality shortens or lengthens the amount of flex that little doodad has. And right up here is a curl. It's metal that moves, and you voice it with that. You don't tune it that way. A lot of people tune them that way. Bad. Metal gets fatigued like any of the rest of us. So this is how we tune a reed pipe. I'm going to play some of our reed pipes. Okay. We'll do the trumpets first, in case anybody is sleepy. So we have the reeds up here. They don't have to be real big. Okay, another set. Another one. They're all similar, but they're all different, doing the same thing. Then we have the big solo trumpets. little softer. English trumpet. Tuba, actually, but tuba means trumpet. And the big one. So that's usable for all kinds of things. You know that piece? Some of you came down the aisle to it. And then, in addition to the trumpets, we have clarinet. It mimics the orchestra sound. A little bigger one, actually it's a corno di bassetto, which is often substituted for clarinet. An oboe. A bassoon. French horn. This French horn was left over from the 1926 organ. They kept it. Probably some other things they should have kept, but they thank goodness they kept this. They don't. These are expensive to have newly made, and most organs don't have them. And one of the organ men came here from a company that does the electronics of this console, and he says, that's got to be not real, that's got to be digital, it's entirely too perfect. And it was real. It was real. Okay, those are the reeds. Let's do the flues, F-L-U-E-S. They're just like whistles, just plain old whistles. I showed you a flue pipe. Do you remember the wooden one that I played? All right, that's good. We have flutes that are metal and wooden. All over the place. Okay. Okay. Strings to duplicate, to mimic the orchestra. Another set right here. Now, in strings in a pipe organ, you can make what you call a celeste, not like a cello. Go ahead.
How does it do the vibrato?
Yeah, this. Let's see. That called a tremolo or tremulant or a vibrato, whatever you want to call it. There's a device in those that shakes the pipe up, it shakes the chest up and down, or it has a device that causes the wind to fluctuate. And then it starts, you can get real none of you know that tune, do you? When the roll is called up yonder, it's an old gospel tune. Yes, I was trying to make like a Hammond organ there. Well, it doesn't matter. You don't need. That's the tremulant. Tremolo, tremulant, vibrato, whatever you want to call it. Strings. Okay, there's something that can happen to strings that's particularly nice. You can have one set of stops, then you put with it a neighbor that belongs to this set of stops that's tuned either sharp or flat, and you get this. That undulating effect. And organists all love it. Here's another one. Just that sweet perfume. The pastor's right across the chancel with that, you know? It's just. By the way, this one is left over from 1926. And when this had to go back to A.R. Shop & Sons and Alliance for fixing, they called everybody from the whole company in to hear that stop. It was absolutely a classic. Thank goodness they didn't get rid of it. So we're so glad to have it. Okay, those are strings. Principals have nothing to duplicate from an orchestra. They're a pure organ sound. They're called diapasons, or they're called principals, okay? And they're actually the basis of any hymns that we would sing. Okay, so how is sound made on an organ? What is unique? An organ sound is based on piling pitch upon pitch. For example, here is chord. If I played the very same chord on the piano, that's where it would be. It wouldn't be here, it wouldn't be here, it wouldn't be there, okay? It would be right here. That's called an 8-foot sound, 8-foot pipes. Tallest pipe in that set is 8 feet, okay? If you put 4 foot with it, it automatically plays an octave higher. So here's what happens. Not the same stop, it's another set of pipes. Okay? So you're playing up here. Okay, here's the same chord. Okay? 2 foot is 2 octaves higher. So it's right here. Put them all together, 8, 4, 2. Okay? So the sound of a pipe organ is made by piling pitch upon pitch. It also can go lower. 16 means an octave lower, 8 notes lower. Here's our same chord. Here is the same chord, not moved, with a 16. So we're actually taking, we're down here. Does that make sense to you? So that's how an organ makes a sound. It makes a difference. And you keep building up, and so on and so forth. Here is the highest sounding pipe on the organ. I will not like you if you can hear it. I'm sure you can, Harrison. I'm sure you can. Can anybody else hear it? Oh, I don't like you at all. How about this? You can hear that one? Doctor, how do I get my ears to be able to do this? Here we are. I hear that one too. Yeah, the dogs will be out. I lose it about right here. How about this one? You hear this one? Good, I was going to see if you were just telling me a fib, because I didn't play anything. That's the highest pitch. So if you keep building up, here's your 8, you add your 4, you add your 2, and you even 1. Okay, now the lowest pitch. Very useful, isn't it? That's 32. That's 32 on its side in there. And can you hear? It's a reed. It's a reed. So you have that little that little thing in there, and what you can hear it moving. I mean, the thing goes brrrr, up and down. I mean, the higher you get, you don't hear it. Say, well, that's very helpful. I'm sure you'll be able to use that in worship. Well, you can. So here's what happens. I'm going to play in the pedal. Let me take the others off. Okay, I'll play without it. Got it. So you can hear that it really does work, but by itself it's not too helpful. And here there are a couple 32s. This is an open wood. The wood's open. This thing can really do the work. It has to start before it'll sound. Okay, and you'd have that on with plenty of sound. Well, you know, reasonable sound underneath it. You don't hear all the mechanisms down there, at least I hope you don't, all that stuff going on. You have to be in the choir to hear the details. All right. Mm-hmm.
Maybe I shouldn't say this, but I will anyway. This morning, I heard what I could only describe as a rattle
Oh, you might.
coming from this direction. Could you tell me what you heard as a choir member?
I don't know what it was, but I heard a rattle too. It depends. The humidity is amazing, and if there's something in the chamber, the organ is still being totally worked on. They're coming tomorrow, put scaffolding up to take off the chests underneath. They had not been re-leathered yet. And so if they move stuff around in there, sometimes they'll leave a hammer on top of us, whatever it is, and it just kind of, you know, we have to have an organ check on Saturday morning. Not really, but that's what it is probably. It was something, yeah, something strange that happens. There used to be one here. They got that fixed.
Oh, yeah.
Something, maybe that was it. Where do you hear that coming from? Yeah, I think it's on the list. Yeah. Okay, so, I'm going to play the softest sound for you very quickly. You hear it? Can't tell? You have no idea what I'm playing? I'll try it again. It's because I wasn't playing. I just wanted to see. I trust you completely. Here it comes. You recognize the tune? My Country 'Tis of Thee. It's way in the back. That's part of the organ that is not gone. All right, good. I played the loudest. You've already heard the loudest when I played with the big 32s in the pedal. Okay, let's move on to gadgets. One was the tremolo, which we already got, so we're okay. How about the Zimbelstern, which means cymbal star in German? Zimbelstern. It means cymbal star in German, and that is this little doodad here. Rotating set of bells, and people always say, how do you do that and keep playing? And I keep saying, like this. You pull the stop on, the knob on, and it makes there's a louder one that does this. Okay? So I mean, you know, it's and it's nice to have it. I mean, it's not usable for every service. A lot of time, at Christmas time, it'll work on other organ pieces. And I've known churches that have told their organists never to use it because it sounds like sleigh bells. So they miss out. They miss out on having a Zimbelstern. It has no pitch. Well, if you think about it hard enough, you can maybe hear a pitch, but it has no rhythm, and you can play in any key, and it works. Okay, chimes. Our chimes are down right now. The ones in the back are not. Let me get, where is that? Right here. Okay, but the ones in the front that are up here, that are left over from 1926 organ, are down because they were an absolute mess. They had metal hitting on metal, so it's a hammer that hits it. And that had to all be taken down and had to be re-leathered and all kinds of things done to it. They tell me they're going to get them in very soon. And I would be happy to get them in soon because we have an English horn that is out, and you can't put the English horn in until the chimes are fixed. When the chimes are fixed, then the English horn can go in. Otherwise, you can't get to the chimes. Make sense to you? Probably. There is an organ harp. It doesn't really sound like a harp, but it's like a celesta in an orchestra. That's from 1926 organ. You don't see those in too many organs these days. Play it with a little higher. Okay, this is for kids, as the anthem says, great and small. Tell me what this is. But what's the piece of music? Say it. It's Harry Potter. It's from Harry Potter. And what is it? Does anybody know? Hedwig's theme. And I said, I hope he enjoyed his theme. And Nancy Hodgkin says, Hedwig was a girl. So I know nothing about Harry Potter. I think it's all fun and nice and so on. The only thing I know about Harry Potter is I had to sit through a whole Harry Potter movie with the Knox Choir on one of their choir trips, and I thought I was going to die and was sorry I didn't, because I knew nothing about anything, and try to sit through a 2-hour Harry Potter movie and not just die. Okay. You also know that we have a carillon here. That's in the back. In fact, that's outside. I wonder who heard it. You can play this carillon. You can play this carillon inside or outside, in the front or in the back, or both front and back and outside and inside, and really have a big deal going on. It is digital, meaning they sampled note by note the carillon that was the Crystal Cathedral, which was Schuller's church in Garden Grove. They sampled it note by note. Randy Walker was on a pulley, rope pulley in a basket with a recording outfit and sampled note by note. I think it sounds pretty real. I mean, I always tell the story when I do this demonstration. We haven't gotten back to it. We'll be in September, where we play carillon music outside at noon and 5 on Fridays. Okay, I make the recordings, put them in here, and then make playlists out of them, and have to call out playlists, and it plays. It's like what you hear before worship and what you hear after worship. It's outside. I make those playlists. But one time at noon, one of our choir members was walking down the street, and it happened to be, I was playing the 12 o'clock noon Friday, and the person near that person said, you know, I'm looking up there with this, why don't they put a light or something up there so we can see those bells going up and down? And I said, fine, we'll put a movie up there with the other bells. I mean, that's a good testament that they really sound well. It's a major tuned carillon, which is, number one, a real carillonneur would say this is terrible because, number one, it's major tuned. A bell is meant to be a bell, minor tuned, okay? 2, it's digital, that's a no-no. 3, you play it with a regular keyboard here instead of the batons that stick out when you play the carillon that way up in the carillon tower, you know. But it sounds good. We like it. We have no tower to put a real one in, and besides they cost too much money, and they are a real pain, a real pain. I belonged to the Guild of Carillonneurs of North America for exactly 1 year, and I couldn't stand it anymore because I thought I'd get some ideas or something or some music. I got nothing. All we get is these emails that are sent to everybody. My carillon is frozen. It is frozen. There's ice up in there. How can I do this without breaking it? I really don't need to worry about that. I felt like answering that email saying, yeah, I don't have to worry. Mine does not freeze. Anyways, all right. You're going to see on either side of the organ, you're going to see knobs that pull out, and what they do is they create, that's where you get the sounds on the organ. Couple of gadgets. Let me do this for you. I know time's getting there, and I want you to have the chance to come down here and play a tune if you'd like. Okay, just a second. Here we are. Okay. Okay. It's the sequencer. It comes with new consoles. It's wonderful. It was put in the console in 2002. And that is not coming through speakers. Those are the actual pipes sounding. And it's wonderful because let me tell you, up here, as an organist, you are inside the organ. Literally, you're inside the instrument. The choir's inside of it too, as they can tell you. And it's hard to get exactly what's happening out there. So I always, maybe Saturday mornings or even sooner than that, play everything and go out, well, not everything, but most of it. And then I go out and listen. It's amazing. It's amazing what you find. That, oh, you thought you were repeating something carefully, and there's no way they're going to even know you played a repeated chord. Or that sound is just hideous sounding, you know. I mean, what would you ever consider using that stop for? Anyways, so, okay. There's also what we call Crescendo Pedal, and that is the pedal that looks like a gas pedal that brings on sounds by just moving it forward. All I'm doing is holding a chord, moving this pedal, which I get to set up ahead of time. There's 4 different settings, crescendo pedals, that I can set up. Basically, I use that for being underneath the choir. When you have no hands free in you, it doesn't make sense. You can give it a little crescendo under the choir, and what you need or take it away. All right, good. There are buttons down here that control all these knobs, and you set those buttons up. It's all computerized. In the 1926 organ, well, no, actually, it's even before they put this console in 02, the mechanisms of this organ took up 3 stories in here of stuff that never worked, or worked half the time. They all had to come in and unhook something or do something. Now it's all in a nice computer. There's a big box back there, and it's all inside the console. It's just absolutely wonderful, absolutely wonderful. All right, now, we have some gadgets on this organ that came as part of that sequencer where I could make the recording of me. And these are basically useless items, but you come with it. It's a required option. I got to get to the right Midi Bank. Just a second here. Okay, here we are. Just a minute. Well, I won't, excuse me for a second. I don't think I have time, but I want you to hear this. Piano. Electric grand piano, honky-tonk piano. Harpsichord, that'd be nice. Clarinet, clavinet. Okay, let's go clear the end where we have the interesting ones. Timpani. Okay, this is a good one. It's a choir, it's supposed to be a choir. Orchestra hit. Richard, you could preach. And when you come to certain points, I could go. And then to preach a little more, and I go, yes. I could really get a thing going on. It does inspire you. Not that you need to be inspired. I'm just kind of mentioning a couple of things.
You have to be able to see him, though, so you can cue the hits.
That's true. I can see him right through here. I got two cameras. I got a chancel and an aisle. More voices. Totally useless. Okay, now let's go to something that is kind of fun. These numbers are a little off, and so I'm kind of lost. Goblins. That could happen during a ceremony. I mean, goblins, very useful in church. Sci-fi. Woodblock. Seashore. I mean, we could do it every time. Next Sunday we're singing, Lord, you have come to the lake shore. It's a hymn, and that I could easily work that in, Richard, if you'd like me to do that. Great big bird down here. Sermon too long. I'm calling you. Richard's a good guy. Here's the other one. You know what that is? It's not getting loud enough for me. It's a helicopter, yeah. Yeah, it's a helicopter. Again, not useful in worship. What questions do you have? We'll let you come down and look at the console.
Can you do it's the Halloween thing, but Bob did
I'm going to play it for Postlet next Sunday. At least I hope. If I have time to get it ready for this week, I'm going to play it. You can't play it in the middle of the year simply because it takes 9 minutes. It's not good for that during the normal season. But I'm going to try to play it next week. We'll see what happens. But don't go call all your friends and all your neighbors and tell them that they have to come down here because he's going to play it. That's right. All right. Other questions and things? This could go for 2 hours, but we don't want to do that. Yes. On a normal Sunday? I don't know how many I use, but I try to use a lot of the organ with different sounds to use variety instead of, because it has so much. You can do things with hymns, you can do for preludes or call to worship music. You know, this morning there was a clarinet, there was a set of strings, there was flutes, different things that way. And you say, well, why do you need that? Well, probably you don't need all of that. It's just this organ just happen to have it. Yes, that's right. And the idea is that what the organ can do is to create lots of moods. I mean, and you have to have the appropriate stops to do that. This is very, very inappropriate. As much as this is inappropriate, see what I mean? So you have all this broad spectrum of sound. Because actually the organ in addition to lots of things, it is somewhat of a mood creator. Which is why it's so nice for worship. I don't have any problem with screens and drums and all of that. It's just that's just not where we are, I think here, you know. I'm in my first 100 years are the hardest, and after that it's hard. Yeah, that's right.
I just think it's interesting when we have those organ recitals on like Thursdays,
Yes.
how the different sounds from different people.
Down sounds of different people. That's right.
Come in and like one did the hand organ. I'm going,
Right. Trent Sims would do that. He'd be first.
oh my gosh, okay.
Yeah. Well, the first thing an organist will do is they'll test all the stops of the organ to see which, you know, and.
And sheer, oh my gosh, I don't know where he pulls those out of. He must bring them with him.
Well, on that 5th keyboard that I put in for him. Well, fine. You're welcome to come down this way and see the organ, see the console. You can actually come down, walk through this way, or I'll get stuff out of the way so we're not in. And those of you that are online, you're nice. Thank you for being here. This is very informal in case you haven't noticed. The other thing is you can look inside the organ chambers. The doors are open with the lights on. If you want to see inside where the pipes are, or some of the pipes, you can see through there. You could go right through here if you want.
That's okay.
You've been through, you're done.
I just
All
want
right.
to look again.
Sure, you're welcome to look.
Great.
Well, you're welcome. Huh?
Thank you, very interesting.
Oh, well, it's fun. Thank you.
And the one thing I always remember is the fact that they haven't found a substitute for leather. I think that's
I know it's classic.
Absolutely.
We'd be delighted to find it. It'd be a lot cheaper. But this whole organ is going through re-leathering. The whole instrument.